Waterworks meeting to order. Phyllis, if we could have roll call.
Joe Kershaw.
Here.
Bill Carbach.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. You're all emailed a copy of the minutes from our April 3rd meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes? Or
A motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the minutes from April 3rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. We'll start right. Was this? Did you just do this?
I was going to interrupt you for a second, if I may. I go first with one matter.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. One of the things that I would ask the board to do is, if you look at our ordinance, we incorporate by reference unsafe building law. And in that, it says that a hearing officer or hearing authority is appointed by the mayor. Our ordinance says that the hearing authority is the Board of Works, which is inconsistent with the statute. So, and in addition, since Bill is a code enforcement officer, I think it would be totally inappropriate for Bill to sit as part of the hearing authority to either uphold or rescind or modify an enforcement order. So what I would suggest, and I've talked to a couple of different hearing officers, Dan Sigler and Tim Mangus. Dan's not available, Tim is. So what I would recommend is that the board approve Mr. Mangus as the hearing officer, authorize Ken to appoint him, and then also recommend that their council amend our code to bring it into compliance with the unsafe building law with regard to that appointment. So if I can get a motion to that effect in a second, then you're approving Tim to be the hearing officer, you're authorizing Ken or recommending to Ken to appoint him, and you're also recommending the council to amend the code to make it clear that the executive is the appointing authority or person that appoints the hearing authority. Okay?
Okay. Now, what's the cost with this? Is he an attorney?
Yeah, he's an attorney. You're going to have to pay him, and we're going to have costs out the wazoo on this when it's all said and done. I'll tell you that right now.
Do we have any idea what that would be?
I don't.
There's really no better angle around this, is there?
No.
Okay.
That's my advice. He's done these types of hearings before, so he's familiar with it. And the other thing is we're going to have a court reporter here because potentially we have to do a transcription.
Did you check that for sure?
Yeah. I'll verify that for certain, but I'm going to line somebody up so that we have them. But that's another cost that we're going to have to incur.
Sorry, Tim, I didn't hear who you said the mayor was going to.
Tim, who I would recommend is Timothy A. Mangus, M-A-N-G-E-S. He's done a lot of these types of hearings up in Fort Wayne. I talked to Dan Sigler. Dan's done administrative hearings as well, but he's not available. He's just swamped with mediation. So.
But is he from Fort Wayne then?
Yes.
Okay. So you want a recommendation? Or a
what I would ask
on my agenda this evening is to ask for recommendation.
Okay. So what I would do is I need a motion that approves Mr. Mangus and recommends the mayor appoint him, and then also to recommend to the council that they amend the code to show in the code that it is a mayoral appointment. Okay.
So moved.
On both. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Second.
Sorry. I have a motion and a second to allow me to appoint Tim Mangus as hearing authority, and also recommendation that we recommend to council to remove the Board of Works as our hearing authority.
Mm-hmm. And then what we'll do is I've got an ordinance prepared for the council to do that, and then Ken, in the morning, I'll have you sign the appointment, and we'll get that sent up to Tim for his acceptance. And then we'll be set to go on the 27th at 1.
And this is something that the state board recommends?
No, it's a state
statute.
Yeah.
In other words, the Board of Works is not the authority.
No, it's the...
It should not be.
In talking with a couple of different attorneys that represent different communities, they don't have the Board of Works doing that. It's usually an attorney who sits as a hearing officer, because it's a quasi-judicial function, and it's something that you're going to have to establish findings and either uphold the order, rescind the order, or modify it, and then that can go to a court. So you want to make sure that you got it documented properly. And in his case, that's who I would recommend.
I think the only time we've ever been called upon to be a hearing authority was when we dismissed a police officer, and I think it was that...
That may be statutory. That's a different situation, because that's a disciplinary action.
He had a hearing,
Right.
He had a defense, and you were on Board Works then, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Me, you, and John?
Yeah, I think that's a situation where the Board of Works actually serves as I think that's by statute.
Yeah, because of the...
So that was a case where the Board of Works would serve as the hearing authority.
Right.
And now this situation is if we have a home that we're citing or a structure,
Like
and the people do not agree with
if you
our...
go out, if Kirk goes out and does an inspection and he orders something to be demolished,
Right.
By statute, you set it for a hearing.
Okay.
And there has to be a hearing authority, and that's what we're talking about here.
Okay, well, that's good, because I've got about, besides the situation that's occurring now, I've got about 5 homes that will probably go in that direction here in the next month or two.
Okay, well, let's see how much this costs first.
Why? But somebody has to pick up that cost, because these homes are, well, we're aware of them. They're over on Schermeyer, and they're holes in the roofs. And
Don't misunderstand me in this sense. If there's an order and it's ignored, and we go in and we take it down and dispose of it, we can't collect that either in the form of a judgment or in the form of a special assessment. So there's provisions under the unsafe building law that allow for that.
to get money.
Yes, but whether you're entitled to recover attorney fees and other costs in the enforcement, I don't know that that's something that's recoverable. They can, the hearing officer can impose a fine, so you might be able to recoup some of those costs through a fine if it's levied. But oftentimes, from what I understand, the fine is used as kind of leverage to get compliance with the order itself. And if they don't, then the fine is imposed. So, we'll see.
Well, we've already made the motion in a second.
Second.
So he's got the authority now
Right,
at this
right,
time to
right.
do this. I guess my question is every time we got to tear down a shed, are we going to have to bring in an attorney?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you should.
Is that yes?
Yes. Because
A shed?
well, according to Chapter 9 of the Unsafe Building Code, Bill, even our ordinance says Board of Works,
Yeah.
Bill cannot...
Right, he can't sit on it,
be
right.
That an employee of the city cannot be a part of the hearing authority.
So,
So that would leave you...
He's an employee.
but if we get the cooperation from the
You're an employee
homeowners,
also.
which I have, for the example, these garages we've taken down,
Right.
I've got the authority, or the people giving me, or giving us authority to go ahead and take them down.
Well, no, if it's only if it's going to be challenged.
I got you.
Okay, so
So-
we don't need
If it's not gonna be
an attorney
challenged-
sitting in our seats for
No.
everything, just these
No.
hearings if it's challenged.
If it's, yeah,
Okay.
right, if it's going to be, yeah, that's,
Okay, I understand that, because I think some of these will get cooperation.
yeah, I mean, if people are willing to cooperate,
Right.
You have the motion,
you're not going to
okay?
have a hearing.
I think I do.
It's pretty complicated.
Motion to give you permission?
Approve, okay, motion is they approve Tim Mangus, recommend the mayor appoint him,
Okay, approve first.
yep, and then recommend council amend the ordinance to reflect that it's a mayoral appointment.
I think I got it.
Okay. And we already had all in favor, everybody was aye. Aye.
Right, yeah.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. All right. Anything else on that, Tim?
Okay. I've got other things, but that's that one.
We have a property closing this Friday for the business over here on the corner of First and Monroe. I will not be able to be here, so I need... Yeah.
Okay.
I need to ask the Board of Works to authorize Phyllis to sign legal documents at that closing for me.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize Phyllis to sign the legal documents on the property closing at the Chronister building. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Jeremy's here. Jeremy. I'm going to bring you up and we'll just try to do several things at once here. First is the approval of the Nature Preserve contract for Heartland.
Yes. This contract is, we're hoping the final stages of the nature preserve before we can close the grant out. I spent a lot of time with Matt Bonder in here recently trying to get caught up. I wasn't really involved in this project till right before it went to construction, and this thing's changed hands so many times that we're trying to make sure everything's covered before we order the final inspection.
What's the actual
Planning,
amount?
plants, trees
This
is
amount?
required, that's included in the grant.
This and this all add together?
That also follows the
This-
vegetation management plan that we were required to have to satisfy the DNR. Heartland Restoration has the plan. Also, at the same time, they gave recommendations for the plantings, the wildflowers, and some of the trees and such. I feel very strong that we should just go ahead and hire Heartland just to help us out and get everything planted, and at the same time, they're going to do some training with Sue and a couple of other personnel as to what we need to be looking for, how we need to maintain things going forward to satisfy everything.
No, that's not
I did
a
clarify
dollar
this
amount.
today, that
That's
will
pure life
need to be
seed
paid out of
per
city
acre.
funds, which I can pay that
This
out
is
of
the
the
amount
park
right
fund.
here.
There's no problem with it.
What was
Yeah.
that, Jeremy? I'm sorry.
We will need to pay that out of the park fund or a city fund. I was under the understanding it will come out of the grant, but Matt went back through the figures and the grant funds have been exhausted for construction.
I think I budgeted some of this for the out of the seed plan.
You did? Okay.
Do you know how much you budgeted? Because there may be something else we'll want to talk about here after this.
We weren't like 50...
Because this is actually carried over from last.
Because I thought we had 10,000 budgeted.
In the grant application, Matt went back and looked, it's like 7,500 to 10,000. It's the range that was put in
And
there.
the actual amount of this, and this is a whole list of different things that they're going to plant. I mean, a whole page full of items.
They will do like the shrubs and some of the flowers and stuff, and then I've ordered trees, new construction trees and other replacement trees that we will be planting for other projects, which I've talked with John Heller from Heller's, and he's just going to add on a few trees to satisfy everyone for the nature.
Total amount of this is $5,854. Excuse me, I'm reading it wrong. That's not money.
No, here it is.
Where's the money?
I never added them all up, but
There's a lot of different
There's a lot
options
of
there. You're a little over $5,000.
here's 5,000 lump sum for services. And then here's item B, which is 2,505. And then here's another one for 750 to 1,500.
So-
I never added them all up.
What this does is if you go on past the 5,000, where
5105.
the 5105, then it gets into other services and such going forward into next year. Because
So the 5105 is all we need this year?
my understanding, correct. Talking with Mike.
That's the cost of service and payment to perform the above described basic services. Item A, we propose a lump sum cost of services up to $5,105. The following is a cost itemization per installation. Tree and shrub clearing, $1,040. Initial herbicide treatment, 1 acre, $500. Vegetative suppression mowing, 1 acre at $375. Secondary herbicide treatment, $500. Spring herbicide treatment, $500. Seed and mix no-till installation includes seed mix cost, $21.90. So all that adds up to $51.05. Then it says cost of services and payment. To perform the above described basic services, item B, we propose a lump sum cost, and you're thinking of were the native plants, the barrier fencing?
And he was giving us some option there that we could purchase the fencing, we could do some of the clearing, the mowing and such, but he was just basically listing everything out as if we had to pay them to do all those services.
Well, what about all the native plants? Are we going to have them do that?
They're planting the native plants, correct?
So it's going to be it's going to be the first part, the 5105, plus the 2505? You want to read it?
Yes, sorry, I did not have the cost of the plants included in there.
So 5105 and 20, what is it, 20?
2505.
And then the stuff on the next page, we don't need, right?
The next page.
So 7610.
It's 750 to 1,500,
We're still going to negotiate a lot of these.
and then the mowing is 375 per visit.
We're probably not going to have them do all that mowing and such. What'd you say in total was 70?
7610.
7610 is what I read off my head.
Okay.
Because a lot of this other stuff, we have the equipment to do. And Mike was telling me on this stuff, he goes, I'm going to put it all in the proposal, but he said, you guys have tree people, you have park people, there's no need. We can deduct off of this, or we can have them do the whole thing, which we're still kind of in.
Okay, so we're kind of at not to exceed 7610 probably. Is that cool? And Phyllis, do you know what you had budgeted?
I have a note in here. 2,700 goes to Heartland Vegetation Management Plan carried over from 2017 contract. So I guess they overexceeded that.
Which
So
we
Park
paid
and Rec,
that.
Park and Rec's going to pay the rest.
We can, yes, correct.
Okay, so Park and Rec's going to have about 5,000 roughly.
Roughly, yes.
Okay, so you just need approval from the Board of Works on this, and do I sign it or do you?
I can.
Okay.
So we're making it not to exceed $7,700?
7610,
Give us a little wiggle room negotiation.
77?
Make a motion.
This is very important that we get this closed out by...
Oh, yeah. It's not complete without it, really,
Correct, and there's going to be some signage and such that Emerson Brown is working on.
See, before we make a motion on that, let me go to the next thing, and that is the fact that the signs that Emerson Brown is going to be putting up, Emerson raised $5,500. The signs are $10,000, or $2,000 a sign. So we have a shortfall of $4,500 on these signs. And that wasn't budgeted anywhere either, right?
That was an Eagle Scout project that come in after.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to, the signs weren't supposed to cost that much, I don't think. So, I mean, I respect the crap out of, excuse me for saying, I respect Emerson for raising $5,500 and going to put them up, but...
Was there it was $3,000 to design them? I think we talked about that already and approved it on the state plan.
Did we already pay for that?
We didn't pay for it, but I think council approved to pay it out of there.
So you're saying in addition to the $10,000 to have them made, there was another $3,000?
Yeah, didn't we approve?
That we paid already?
Well, JPR, the 3,000 design, I think we did pay for that, the 3,000 designing of it.
Okay, so we're still right now only short 4,500
4,500, yes.
and not been budgeted. You got 5,000 in the Park and Rec Fund to take care of this Heartland restoration. What are we gonna do?
I'll talk to the board members, but I wouldn't see it an issue. We're really kind of stuck.
Yeah. And Emerson's going to Europe. We got to get him an okay. We have to get these signs ordered before he goes to Europe, which is, I think, right after school lets out. So we got, I don't know how long it takes Baldus to make the signs.
How much did he raise?
5,500. Which, when he raised it, I think he thought that was going to be enough.
That's what he was told.
It appeared it would have been, but in the initial conversation.
This might be something we might want to call back Mr. McCroy, see if he wants to help us with that too, because it'd be a great feather in his cap for that engineering firm, helping to with his
It seems like everything Kevin quotes us, by the time we ever buy it, it's always more than what he quoted us.
I will work on my end. I don't see a big issue with it.
That's true.
I will work on my end. I will work with Larry tomorrow and make sure that's not going to be an issue.
Okay, so can we just put this all in one motion to clear up the nature preserve, the $4,500 for the signs and the Heartland, and I'll go ahead and let JPR know to get the signs ordered so that Emerson can get them up before he leaves.
So moved.
And I'll say something to Kevin when I do.
He's about how old would Emerson be?
He's 16.
Yeah.
I think they have to have it done before they turn 18.
Oh, yeah, but he's letting
Yeah,
me go for 6
he wants to get it done before he leaves.
No, I understand. I'm just making sure we wasn't pushing a birthday.
No, it's cool.
date here.
We need to get it done.
Yep. Okay, got a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same, thank you. Jeremy, you with this, or do you have a copy?
I've got a copy of it.
Okay,
I need mine. Or
this is mine, you got yours.
have it signed.
I didn't sign anything, he said he was going to sign it.
Oh.
Okay, that's that.
And Tim, I may have to bug you a little bit as we get closer to the closing on that grant.
Okay.
I think you were about the only one that was involved in it from day one. Because even the grant administration's changed about 3 times.
Okay.
I left the city and then went to Kyle and then it went to Matt. And I wasn't really involved until I went to construction. So there's a lot of gray area that Matt and I were trying to
Figure out.
figure out today. He's been calling back and forth to the DNR. We just want to make sure that we're good with the DNR before we close this out.
All right. While you're on the hot seat, you want to just go ahead and talk about, first of all, the water lines at Washington Street. Jeremy got 2 quotes for replacing the water main under the railroad tracks on Washington Street. In order to do this, we have to hire a contractor to bore under the tracks. He got prices from plumbing, excavating, and underground contractors. Plumbing's price was $23,840, and underground contractors was $32,500. And before we finish off Washington Street and proceed on, we got to get the water line under those tracks. And plumbing's kind of ready to go, isn't it? You said?
Yeah, Greg had called me last week and we talked about several different things, but they're doing some boring work at Bungie right now and they're getting pretty close to being wrapped up with that. Before they get too far out of the city or away from the city, they would kind of like to have an idea if we're going to go with this or not. All the water main on Washington, west of the tracks, was replaced with the exception of the 550 feet under the railroad tracks, which is basically from 10th Street to Harrison Street. We need to replace that stretch to get it under the tracks so we can get all the pavement stuff fixed, everything put back from that project. Because we have needs on the other side of the tracks, probably getting into late 18 into 19, but I need good pipe to hook onto to go
To do-
on eastbound.
And he's referring to Dirk Street, which is really bad. I mean, but to repave Dirk's, we needed to redo the lines. To redo the lines, we need to have a good line to connect to on Washington.
Yeah. I spoke with Kevin today. Kevin and I went back through the numbers, and Kevin Hackman's fine with this amount, so.
Motion to approve the amount for under boring with lowest bidder at Jeremy's choice.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Jeremy's approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. That's that. Jeremy, what else, did you just text me about something else a little bit ago? What was
The crack ceiling.
it? Yeah.
I forwarded on a letter for Payment Solutions to Phyllis about a week or two ago. Last year, Payment Solutions carried over the low bid from the year prior, and they are willing to do the same again this year due to this cost being down at this point. According to our ordinance, anything up to $50,000 or anything over $50,000, we have to put out for sealed bid. I have 60 budgeted for 2018. According to my rough figures right off, we'll probably look at 53 to 55,000 in work that would be needed this year. I know recently in other projects we went with some sealed quotes on other work. I was wondering if that would be allowable this time, or if I just need to keep it under the 50,000, because crack sealing is really not worth hiring an engineer and looking out,
I agree.
putting it out for bid, and
Can you just keep it under 50?
we can.
Can you break it into two contracts?
We shouldn't do that.
No, I just wondered. Well, I mean, the way I looked at it, I used to do this stuff in the city of Decatur. You'd say, okay, I want to take care of this section
In two segments.
in two segments. Can you do that, or is that illegal?
I guess we're
If there's a legitimate
we're at
reason why you
60,000
would...
budgeted.
In other words, if you're going to come in the spring and do part of it, and then you're not going to come back until the fall and do part of it, you might be able to justify that, but to just say, we're going to break it up, and so much is going to be here and so much, and that's underneath you can't break up a project to try to
I
fall under
I
it.
don't have a problem keeping it at 49, 48, 49,000,
There you go.
but I just
So
need to
can
know
we,
before
so to
we
speak,
do that.
suspend the rules and for certain things like this and make exceptions? Is that
I would make a motion that you keep that crack sealing bid under $50,000, $49,999.
Yeah.
$999.
I just need to know before he gets the proposal back. Whether we-
about two streets don't get sealed?
No, and that's
It
fine.
might not be that much.
Yeah.
I mean,
It won't, it's not much.
And maybe they can keep it under 50.
Yeah, that's what,
Possibly, yeah.
give them a bid not to exceed 50. Is that okay? Is that a motion?
99 is what your ordinance is.
A motion? Second.
motion and a second for Jeremy to go ahead with crack sealing
Crack
for
filling.
under $50,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
Do
the
you want me
same?
to come back with the proposal, or can I just get with Phyllis and get both quotes, or, all I have to do is check with Kevin Jacks out of Michigan for payment maintenance to see if he's going to hold his number or give a lower number. Since Payment Solutions is already...
I'd leave it up to you.
I'd leave it up to you.
They've held it for 2 years.
I'll leave it in your hands.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't need to come back for the
Okay,
official.
don't leave.
Okay, that's fine.
There's more things we can discuss while you're sitting there. The house on Winchester Street that was owned by the Redmond, I think you're all,
Yeah.
texted you and told you. We got possession of that, and Kurt, Don, and Jeremy and I went down there. We went through it. It is terrible. It is beyond terrible. And I notified the drug task force team that they would not want that house. And they understood. So I guess I am one to report that I would recommend that we proceed with demolition on it.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to proceed with demolition on Winchester House owned by residents and now owned by the city.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. And then last, Jeremy,
Hang on a second. Phyllis, if you could forward that, forward the deed on the Hicksville for me, if you haven't already, for the red.
I can send it to you too,
Oh,
if
okay.
either one of us. Just make a note to send it to him. Okay, back to our plaza. And again, back to money that we don't have. One of the things that's not covered in our plaza was the sound system and that quote that we initially approved. And I think we all want to have speakers and sound down there. And back in September, Jeremy and I think Melissa, and we had Phil McDonald, who does a lot of sound work. He sat in with us, and we met with Innovative Concepts, and they worked up a quote, real detailed here with all kinds of information of what's going to be in there, what type of speakers, what type of wiring, what kind of router, everything that was going to be used, mixer, and he came up with a total price for the sound system of $21,193.99, which is all good until I mentioned to Phyllis today. I said, okay, that's $21,193.99. Do we have to get 2 bids? And with that, yeah, because it's over in our purchase order. I don't know how you can get 2 bids to be identical. They're not going to bid the same thing, you know.
Well, if you're going to do quotes, you're supposed to actually spec it out so you can compare apples to apples. I'm not saying that for small projects, and maybe you go back and you amend your ordinance to up the amount so you're not running into this every time you turn around.
I mean, yeah, he spec'd it out, but I don't want to use, who's to say we use his specs for somebody else to come in and beat his price?
Can I look at
Yeah. What is it, just, you can look at all this. Please do, you probably know more
I'm
about it than
gonna
I
figure
do.
that stuff out today.
Is it incorporated into City Hall somehow? You've been happy with the work they've done here.
You've got,
They do all that kind of work here?
you've got the infrastructure in the ground, right? All the conduits in the ground, so all we have to do is pull wires. Are these wired speakers, or are they Bluetooth? Did you look through this package?
It's been so long.
They're wired, I'm pretty sure.
It's been since September since we did it.
Has a list of all the,
I'm pretty sure they're wired.
And then Tim, also with your ordinance comment.
I mean, we can get a cheaper price for sound system, but you're going to get what you pay for.
Is that sound system, is that like if a band comes in and plugs in and uses that sound system? Or is that
No.
music playing?
That's for like music playing and for general announcements and things like that.
Or for a single,
Yeah, single artist.
musician.
Yeah, a guitar or a piano or something
Yeah.
singular, and one vocalist can go through it, but not a whole band.
Not for a band. But they bring their own usually anyway.
Oh.
Who we got that's gonna run this thing?
Phil?
Okay.
Yeah, Phil McDonald sat in on it, yeah.
Okay.
He's going to do it for every event?
Well, Phil, there's several people that know how to do it. Alex Mendez,
Some of that is just...
they do it on an iPad. They do it on an iPad,
I
yeah.
mean,
We made all the provisions in the restroom for them, you know, when we get to that point.
Yeah, you pre-wired it or ran the conduit and everything over there for it.
My comment to Ken and Phyllis over the weekend is we're getting to that point that in another 45 days, you're going to see a plaza. Sometimes it takes a while, you know, with innovative with some of these projects to get all the pieces put together. So you're throwing it out there to do we or don't we? And what's the timing going to be?
Well, do we or don't we? Do we have to get another price? And then if we do, where are we going to pay for it from?
Wow.
So I I mean, I don't have the answer as far as do I need to get a second price, and if so, how I get a comparable price.
Well, okay. When do you have to have this decision made? Can we do it at the next meeting?
Possibly.
Okay.
I don't know. I remember him saying it takes quite a bit of time for him to get everything in.
All I'm saying is, if you're going to make a change to your ordinance, make the change to the ordinance at the next meeting and then select your contractor to do it.
What's the cutoff amount right now?
Is it,
At 25.
Yeah, it depends on what it's for.
Yeah, he's got 15,000 and then 6,000 is labor. And can we keep it under, can we keep it under with the equipment and get the equipment ordered? And change the ordinance, you tell him to give him the nod to get the equipment coming.
How much was the
It's just like
equipment?
the way I look at it, it's just like the bathrooms over here. You get somebody local to come in and draw up the whole structure for them, and give you a price on how he would do it, and then
then you
send
hire
out somebody else to bid on it. He's done all the legwork, so there's, the equipment on the thing is 15,000. The labor's 6, so in my opinion...
Anything between $10,000 and $49,999 for supplies and materials requires Board of Works approval with 2 quotes. Equipment, what's that fall under? We got 4 categories: supplies and materials, equipment, repairs and maintenance. It wouldn't be.
Generally, how we always followed that was anything over, initially it was $1,000, then it went to $2,500. Anything over $2,500 they called for 2 quotes up to $9,999, and then once you got over 10, then you had to come to the Board of Works up to $49,999, and then over that it went to sealed bid.
What does the state say on that? Can we just raise it for cost of living?
It's a lot.
It's,
Ours
is more restrictive.
Can we raise it to what the minimum of the state was within a ordinance?
Now, a while back we discussed
Yeah,
this.
it's up to the 150 now, I believe. I'd have to look at
I
it.
sat through a class at Purdue Road School
Yeah.
that they're changing some of this
All right.
again, and you're upwards 150 according to the Indiana code.
I'm not
On the
sure.
high end.
All I did is I attached this to the
In order,
exhibit.
you can call it, you can say what you want until you have to get
Who
sealed.
did this,
Up to
Jeremy, do you know?
Yeah.
I think
I do.
I didn't.
Bluffton.
John copied it.
Okay, because I didn't do this, I just attached it as the exhibit.
We basically copied what Bluffton was doing.
Okay.
And a while back, I asked some other communities, and most of them are very similar to what we have, the ones in this area. Because I thought, well, if we find out everybody else is going higher, we'll just raise ours. But we are kind of in the normal range with what we have.
Can't do anything for $10,000.
Not anymore, you
Well, that's
can't.
my point.
Well, Tyler Earth is really tough at 1,000.
Right, I mean,
You can't do it.
you can't put a door in for $1,000 anymore.
The committee that
It was like that till just...
That's redevelopment, they can do whatever they want.
Right, why don't we just tell them to take care of this thing? When's your next board meeting? And the reason I say, I mean, the things are gonna, the stuff's gonna be housed there, it's part of the package of the Plaza. Is that a bad appropriation of funds?
Can we put in our ordinance something to the point where if it's a unique situation, it seems like that's what we run into all the time, something that's just peculiar. It's not anything that we can go out and get sealed bids.
Well, the problem is we're running into
But
these
there is-
unique situations every time we turn around,
Well,
so
can we put something-
it's not a unique
That's the
situation.
problem.
No, but I'm saying, can we put something in our
On the
ordinance
bottom of that
that if it is
says
that
they can
situation, we can raise
Well,
it?
She says it says there's an
It says
exception.
something for that.
You know, and I'm not lobbying here to get it all the way up to the top, but we need to look at this because the market's getting so high with materials, even to do our own jobs, that we're going to be getting into issues.
Les, you have a
It says
comment?
that- Okay, under your purchasing ordinance, says the Board of Works and Safety may waive any of the above requirements under special circumstances.
It's
So,
already there.
if you feel this is a special circumstance, either because of the time constraints or because of the fact that this particular contractor has done other work that you're tying into, and it would make more sense to use that person as opposed to a different contractor, then you could use that as justification to waive, you know, your requirement to get 2 quotes if you're inclined to do that.
I mean, he's designed the project, so he knows what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only person that JPR met with. We had a whole group of us take the prints down there and meet
And I
with
mean,
them.
there's,
So what do you think? We can make a motion?
Well, wait a minute, before we even do that, we don't have the money. Les,
Are you talking about raising some of the lines on the purchasing ordinance?
Yeah.
I run into this with fire equipment
all the time.
all the time. It's just, is it the single source vendor that builds the truck and it's proprietary and...
Well, that's unique.
I can
ask for that.
survey again and see what everybody else is doing. I can go through Amy.
Well, that's unique,
that
what you
bottom
just said.
thing. We'd cut
That's
it
what-
off.
Yeah, and
that's where we're at.
what you just described, Les, that's a unique situation. So
Exactly.
they could waive it and authorize it.
Right.
but I think those amounts still need to be reviewed and
I'm not
increased.
I'm not saying you should necessarily keep those, I'm just saying that
Right.
you can deal with it a couple of different ways. You can raise the limits, or if you find that there's a unique circumstance here, you can waive the requirement of getting 2 quotes and just go on ahead.
I think that this is, you know, when I remember when we met with him, and he really wants to do this. He says he's sharpened his pencil best he can for us on this. So with the quality that he's using, it's probably a good price. Now, if we want to override the purchasing ordinance as a Board of Works on this, that's great. And if from there, I would say then we suggest to council that we find the money on this. And I might even add that I kind of like your suggestion. It might be something that redevelopment could look at. They've been awfully generous to us here lately. You know, they bought a building, and now they're spending almost the same amount again to make the restrooms in there. I don't know. Phyllis, I don't even know if they have the appropriations.
Well, they just did the
We
appropriation.
just did the additional appropriation.
If we just did an additional appropriation, and that would pretty much, that would take it all. And they appropriated the additional funds in case there were other projects that came up that weren't necessarily related to Madison Street.
Do we have any money anywhere, Phyllis?
It's pretty slow. I'd have to go back through everything.
Well, for now, we can approve. That way we can, I don't want to order something we don't have the money for, though.
Well, I think what you do, if you're going to waive the requirement, I think you waive it, you give your reason for waiving it, and you make a recommendation to council to appropriate the funds for it. Then it's up to council and Phyllis to figure out if there are funds available. If you want, we can ask the redevelopment commission if they'd consider contributing anything towards it.
Yeah, maybe if they can pay a portion of it, maybe Phyllis can find a portion of it as well. So,
Yeah. I think I think it classifies it as a unique a purchase, and I would waive our requirements to and ask for council to find the funds.
Second. Before we vote on this, I'd just like to see if there's any comments from this side of the room over here. I value their comments. I know that I just passed it down to Tyler, but
Kind of mentioned it, but why was it not built into the design?
Some afterthought down the road.
I think it was just not.
It came in towards the tail end.
It was built into the design because we got the conduit in the ground.
But it came in...
That was
No, I think the conduit was put in anticipation of doing it.
Yeah.
We did all that on our own.
Right.
Right.
Prior to.
But it came in towards the end, and then knowing the conduit was going to be put in.
We didn't have this discussion until September.
Right.
This went out for bid.
I think if I remember right, Craig, what happened is as they were putting in the bids, they decided that in the future, we may want to have a sound system, so if we're going to do that, let's run the conduit now.
Okay.
So that we could put it in at a later time. I don't think that was ever spec'd out as part of the project.
There was talk about it.
Yes.
And
Right,
so that's,
it's reasonable. It's just, you still gotta have the money.
so are these like for the concerts, or these for
No.
ambiance sound?
That's exactly what it is. The
Yeah.
concerts are out, they're gonna bring their own sound.
Other than like your little guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a
PA system.
one or two person
for small-
performance, they can use this, but a band, it's not made for a band.
I wasn't under that impression,
What's that?
that it wasn't set up for a band.
You thought it was set up for a band?
Yeah, because, when we looked at innovative concepts, they had explained that there would be some kind of a delay, so that if you're at one end of the street listening to the band live, that it's going through the sound speakers at the other end of the street, it's kind of the same, so there's not like you're not behind listening to it. I thought that it was
It's like Disney World,
set up for the bands to hook into.
wherever you want.
Not that you would have to do that, but so that if you were...
It'd be great if it was, but I didn't think that.
I wonder if it just picked up the sound
I
and
think
sends
we
it
were
out in
thinking
little
that if you
speakers.
were having an event maybe on the other side of
And
Madison
they're not
or
picking them upside the street.
outside of the Plaza area, that the music would still be playing, you could still hear it.
Jeremy, if you're looking for a breakdown,
You are right, Melissa, because there is an mixing board in here.
There is, but I don't know that it...
I believe that now that she brings that up, that does start to ring a bell in the conversation that we had with Phil. 'Cause that's why Phil was involved in it, due to his experience with bands and music in the past. Because we had, this was originally supposed to be set up outside in a waterproof box.
Mhm.
And then when redevelopment purchased the Logan building, and that's when I went back to Caston and said, hey, what about moving this inside? So,
oh, regardless,
I can check on that, but I think Melissa hit on that one right there.
we can check that out tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to hook into it every time if your event was just on the Plaza.
Right.
But if you had stuff going on First Street, on the other side of Madison, up and down Second, then you would be able to hear that all around.
Mhm. Any comment to Tyler? Or?
Whether it's redevelopment commission, us, combo, now's the time to do it,
Yeah.
if possible.
Yeah.
Can it, I guess if you can't find the money, can it be all put up and then purchased later? Like, I understand the rush to get this stuff ordered, but maybe you don't get the sound system this year. If there's no money there, you don't get the sound system this year, but isn't it all like there?
We
Let it
have,
go next
yeah,
year,
we have
budget there?
everything, we have everything in the ground. It's just as everything progresses, my big question is this an 18 or an 19?
So we don't have to do anything this year?
We can get by not doing it if we don't.
Everything is in place, all the conduit is there.
That could be something that could be budgeted for next year, if need be. I mean, I don't
Okay.
wanna be one-
Okay, well then why don't we approve this? Phil, see if we can find the money here, talk to redevelopment. We can't? Yeah.
Are they willing to hold the price for?
Well,
until-
I remember asking him that, and he said the price on that wouldn't change much in time. He said it was pretty
Very minimal.
fixed.
You would think.
Yeah. I had a motion, didn't I already?
Yeah.
And a second?
Bill and Craig second.
And that was, the motion was to go ahead and approve innovative,
The price,
and 21.9.
As a unique
Yep.
purchase.
Waiving the requirement.
Right.
And then
And
looking into the finding
Looking
the
at
funding
finances
options later.
with
Okay.
with council.
With that in mind, all in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. We'll go looking on that.
What are we going for, on the Winchester Street, we're gonna demo that.
Yes.
Is that coming on a, where, unsafe building fund, or
Yeah.
does Kurt have any money?
Kurt's got the money.
Well, money begs
Are you
Kurt
good with
back
that,
there.
Kurt? Okay, we like that.
Another building down for us? Sure.
And we're gonna,
You've got more than enough in there to cover.
that's gonna be called Carbot Corn.
Keystone Circle.
Yeah.
On that house, just occurred to demo,
Mm-hmm.
house next to it,
It's pretty bad. Not as bad, but it's pretty bad.
Someone just moved in there, I don't know how they could live in it.
I was going to say that there's...
I don't know if they bought it, but somebody's living in it.
Plant grass in that lot, because there's no reason for somebody to go there and hang out. You would need a gazebo or a place to park your car. The other house is still there, not worth it.
We need the other house down too, you're saying, in time.
slow going by there.
People screaming along that property line.
That is occupied.
I have pictures of what we took inside if anybody wants to see them. They're nasty.
Well, I don't believe it didn't sit there very long, because there's not much hanging on the foundation.
What's next?
Next thing, Jeremy, I think I'm done with you. How about Kevin? Kevin mentioned to me today that in past years, he says he knows it goes all the way back to when, at least when Kathy hired in. Phyllis might be the only one that was around when this happened, but we take the average sewer charge of residences and we establish a summer sewer rate. Because a lot of people will use more water in the summer for watering yards or whatever, and rather than paying the sewage on that water usage, we discount it. And now that we're getting this new infrastructure, which when we conclude this, give us an update on the software. What do we want to do? And Kevin, go ahead and just tell him everything you told me today about how you asked about other communities.
The guy that's training us on the new software here, he's been doing this for 10 years, and he asked us this morning if we were still planning on doing summer rate. I said, yeah, I think so. You know, how do other communities do it? And he said, in 10 years, we're only the third community that does that for us. So he does about 75 to 80 a year, and only 3 of them actually discount their summer rates for their customers. So I brought up, should we be doing that? I haven't got anything together yet, just this morning, but it's hard to figure out what kind of numbers, what we've actually discounted over the years as far as income that goes in there. Currently, we've always averaged January through March, that bill, and then that would be your average for
Your summer rate.
So I recommend we take your average from September all the way through March. That'll raise that average a little bit. You can still get the discounts for the customers, but it'll help offset some of that everything that's missing out on over here.
People blow their sprinkler systems out in October. So why don't you just move it to November?
As far as
Water usage and sewer usage.
You mean the summer rate?
My point being is that they start their sprinkler systems up at Labor Day or Memorial Day. They shut them down usually in
Labor Day.
October.
that's why I came here.
That's why I'm asking. I'm just saying if you wanted to get a true water usage without sprinkling lawns, it would be from
And that's fine, that's why I came here.
June through
My thought
October.
was September through March, but
That's one of those things that I don't think most residents even realize, that
yeah.
another benefit they get from our city that you wouldn't get in other communities is that you get a little discount on your sewer rate during the summer months, whether you water your yard or whether you don't, or whether you have a swimming pool or whether you don't.
Yeah, so even if you use more water in summer and you don't sprinkle your yard or have a swimming pool, you still get the discount.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's across the board, Greg. It's not
Oh,
just-
it's not,
It's
because I always called in.
For filling your pool is different.
Yeah, but I always called in for sprinklers too. I always thought that was kind of what you do. I'm sorry, I just didn't realize.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
A lot of people didn't.
But there are a lot of people that, on the same meter, with public bills today, the meter for their sprinkler and just their house is the same thing. Some people have separate meters, so you can shut them on as far as when you want that water to go on. So. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up to see what everybody's thoughts were on that.
So,
I was shocked that only 3 communities, though, hundreds
Yeah,
that
that's
have done actually do that for their customers.
Phil Kevin told me a couple weeks ago, I never knew you got a discount rate in summertime like I did.
but now if we don't discount, there's going to be a lot of people notice, why'd my sewage go up?
That would be nice to know,
It's a
Kevin.
hard thing to quantify how much has actually been discounted over, or even just over a year period, because the system automatically, you charge that rate unless you're under that, then you get charged under that. So there's no report I can print off that says we've actually discounted this much. I could go through the adjustment reports and spend a couple months maybe to that to figure it out, but I don't know if it's worth the time. But yeah, I'd say it's fairly significant. But it is a big discount for people if you do have a sprinkler and pool.
So what you're saying, Kevin, is you take their rates from certain day to a certain day, and if whatever that rate is,
Whatever that average is.
continues on into the summer.
Mhm.
So in other words, are you wanting to have a more realistic approach by backing the day back to, like you said, March to
That was my thinking, to get an actual...
right, to get a little better
Yeah.
feel.
Either that or doing the summer months, maybe June, July, or July, August, September. Bill's brought that up today. Maybe that would be better. More people are going to be sprinkling in July, August, September than they will be in June.
June, July, and August.
Well, you'd be able to fill a lot of pools in May. So whichever way you go,
You're going to have winners and losers.
I think I'd stretch out the time frame and so that
June to September?
Huh?
June to September, 4 months instead of 3, or what?
No, I'm saying the other way. In other words, incorporate
The average.
it more so your average is not so such a big variance.
The average would go up, but people still get a discount.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
right.
If you average it over a 9-month period,
Right.
8 or 9 month period, and use that as the average. Yeah.
And like what Craig said, that'll be not easy to do, it'd be a lot easier to check September to October, see what kind of differences those are, and see what kind of difference that makes, but yeah.
Okay.
I didn't mean to throw a wrench out there.
No, but it's a good point. I don't have a sprinkler, so I don't know, when those are going up. So,
If it's close to the same, I'm not going to complain.
So what should I advise him here? Just
take a look at it.
If
It's not too burdensome, just take a look at from the summer season from June 1st to October 1st.
Yeah.
see what kind of difference.
And see if there is a big difference in water usage.
But go ahead and continue with the discount. That's kind of just a... by
Come back and
consensus.
report. Does he have to know it today?
Yeah, while the guy's here.
No, it could be set up
Later.
Okay. But yeah,
I would say continue, because you just read the rate from every day.
Yeah.
It's just waiting.
that was my kind of thought too after I brought it up. I mean, I don't want to get to
So what, Kevin, what you're
I got my first
suggesting
bill, it was
is
a little higher last month.
use a longer period of time to come up with the average. That's probably going to be a little bit higher than
a little
what,
higher average, but
Yeah.
so we're still discounting, but we're probably going to pick up a little bit more money because we're using a higher figure.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if you take the water consumption from, say you take the water consumption from September to
Right.
June 1st,
you have 6 months of average to...
Right.
So you just...
And then you're probably going to have a little bit higher water usage, which means you're going to discount less.
Okay, by consensus, go ahead and just implement when you're ready, once you've done all the homework.
That you get snowbirds too, they don't come back till March, they don't have any usage from January, March, so they're average very, very low.
You have the other ones with the money.
I beg your pardon.
The other ones with bows.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Les?
Oh, I just,
I had two things really that pertain to the fire department. You don't even know of one of them. Jeff Sheets came in and saw me and said that he got a phone call from Common Ground Church
yes.
and that they would like to have a Nerf war at the Safety Village. He says they have their own liability form that they'd sign.
No thanks, bro.
It's a family event for kindergarten through 12s plus adults, and it's just typical Nerf guns. But to me, I would prefer that decision come from the Safety Village Board and not
Yeah.
the Board of Works and Safety or City Council, because,
I think that's a good approach to take.
so it would be between, yeah.
But I mean, I just feel like if we open it up, we're opening.
Then we're opening it up.
You know,
So, you want to let Jeff know that that's, okay.
Jeff's on tomorrow, so I'll let him know.
Okay. Then the other thing that, Les, you want to report it, or you want me to read this?
Well, yeah, you can,
It says, the fire department got an I&M rebate for their participation in their program. What is the program exactly?
it's a rebate program when you switch to LED. So over the end of last year into early winter, we converted all the bay lights, the 8-footers, and all of the office 4-footers, even went to closets and took out incandescents and threaded in LEDs in those. And then Jim and James Clark, and James actually did a lot of the wiring. He does work for Copper Smith on his days off. And so we were able to do the whole project without any outside labor. And we submitted everything to I&M, and they come down and did a survey, made sure that we did what we said we were doing, and we ended up with a rebate check of $2,270 back from Indiana, Michigan, which I believe was more than the outlay that we had in the bulbs. Pretty close.
It was, our whole project was approximately $5,000 with all the fixed, with all the bulbs and everything we purchased. We got over 2,200 back.
So, yeah, so it was a little more than, told Phyllis I thought it was less than, that the whole project.
But over time, it's going to pay for itself and then
I
some.
think we've already noticed probably $100 a month over the last 2 months in the electric bill at the station, so I think it was a good investment.
As Les says here, he says they're fortunate that they have employees that are capable of doing these kind of improvements, so that they really have any labor. All they have is just the material cost. So,
It's projects that the guys can do as long as we don't get a call. And we even had, and I won't say who it was, but we even had a local guy that we asked if we could rent his scissor lift for a couple days, and he said, no, you can't rent it, but tell me when you want it, and I'll drop it off for you to use. So it's pretty cool. You know, people are supporting us, the fire department, the city. So.
okay.
Those programs are definitely working. We started this winter in one building, and we're averaging $85 to $80 less a month just in one building.
Wow.
And we still have none of the
I did my whole house.
How do you think, Murray?
2 years ago.
Jeremy, can the city do that with our
Jeez, I didn't even
LED
ask for a
streetlights?
rebate.
Yes, we are.
Oh, that's a
Just
good
kind of
deal.
like
And it's a 1.4-year
Yeah, as we,
payback,
yeah.
return on investment, and then 60 a month off.
You just replaced all of them, all your lighting?
And then they sent another guy down
Those
to make sure.
fluorescents, everyone disappeared that.
Yeah.
Bastard lights that are really far.
Right.
That's a good deal.
So it might be worth other departments looking into
Yeah.
to that.
Highly recommend.
That's all I have on my agenda. Tim?
Yeah, I've got...
Sure, Tim has to.
Absolutely.
All right, take it away, Tim.
Okay, if you recall, Brett Miller was authorized to do some survey work out at the city farm. That's now been completed. He dropped off the survey to me, Jeremy did, this morning. And the survey, in order to comply, if we're going to annex this ultimately to comply with the contiguity requirements, it's kind of an odd-shaped portion of the city farm that we can annex in eventually. But if you look at how this is designed, this is the road that goes out to the shooting range. It goes through the woods. So the intent is the road that would go out to the new well plant will use that same existing road. You see this bump out into the cleared fields here. This is wooded area, and it probably, the site for the well is probably going to come over here, so about an equal amount of the woods is going to have to be cleared here. Don looked at that, and he said that could be easily done. So the reason for this location is it's higher ground. So first of all, you have better drainage. Secondly, you can make use of the roadway that exists currently, so that's the two reasons why. It then gets us into an area so that we have contiguity. The only contiguity that exists between the city and the city farm is right here. You have to have at least 12.5% contiguity in order to annex a tract, so we've maintained that by this shape. So what I would recommend is that the board approve the survey, authorize it to be recorded, and then the second thing is the city itself is the owner of the farm. It says the deed shows the city of Decatur, Indiana. So because this is a Waterworks project and we're putting a significant sum of water bond money into this, it should be owned in the name of the Waterworks. So what I've done is I've drafted a deed that would transfer this tract from the city proper to the city Department of Waterworks.
Just the surveyed area?
Yes.
That still gives the police access right away to get back to the range?
Yeah, that's still going to be, I mean, if we have to give them a right-of-way, we can. So,
Okay,
yeah,
just checking.
Yep. And then,
Back a ways then?
yes,
Yeah.
it's going to sit probably,
What we should we have there?
it's about 500 feet, I think, at least back from the front of the site. So it's going to be a good ways off the road. Okay? So what I would suggest, here's the sequence of steps that I think we need to follow. One, approve the survey. One, authorize the mayor to sign the deed, transferring it to the Waterworks Department. Get that recorded. Once that's recorded, then have authorized Kevin to sign a petition for annexation to be filed with the city. Kevin would sign that in his capacity for the Waterworks Department as the city utility auditor. And then that will start the process of a super voluntary annexation, okay? And what that means then is we'd get this deed recorded before the end of the week, then Kevin can sign that. Once that's signed, then the next step would be at your May 1st meeting, you would schedule a public hearing for the next meeting, which would be the 15th. And we could have that notice that goes in the paper ready to go, so that we're assured of getting it published at least 10 days in advance of the meeting on the 15th. At the 15th meeting, in the meantime, because there's no habitants, this is going to be very similar probably to the annexation of the bank, so I think I could probably do the fiscal plan again as opposed to having somebody. It's going to be a lot cheaper for the city to do that. I think Christy Kurtz charged about $7,500, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I had $1,500 or $2,000, so it's a cheaper way to do it if you want me to do that. If you want to hire a consultant, you certainly can. And then what happens is, after the public hearing, the fiscal plan would be adopted by a resolution by council, and then the council would adopt the ordinance on the first two readings, and then you have to table it for third and final reading because you can't adopt it finally for a minimum of 2 weeks after the public hearing. So at the next council meeting, which would be the first meeting in June, is when you would adopt it. There's a 30-day appeal period if somebody wants to challenge contiguity. That's the only basis of an appeal. I don't think that would happen, and at that point, after that 30-day period runs, then it's completed and it's annexed into the city.
So who wants to make a motion on the first two things?
So, yeah, so what I would ask is that you make a motion approving the survey, authorizing its recording, approving the mayor to sign the warranty deed transferring that tract to the water department.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done.
We're going to call that the Waterworks property?
Yep.
Waterworks, zoning?
Waterworks, Waterworks tract that will...
What today's date?
Yeah, that's fine.
One copy's all?
Yep.
Okay, so you need to get that recorded, and then
Then
do we
Kevin-
tell Phyllis to go ahead and make a note? to
Yeah,
publish
Phyllis,
that?
you can, I'd get the notice ready to go, and maybe, because I don't know how long the paper needs it in advance.
Just a couple days.
So if we had it ready to go on May 1st, we sent it to them the next day, the 2nd, they could get it published in time for us to have a 10-day period in advance of the 15th? Or do we need to get it to them ahead of the meeting and just say, publish this, assuming that it's authorized at the May 1st meeting?
I think she usually just needs 2 to 3 days to publish anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I would get it.
Yeah, so if we get, if we
authorize
get
it
it to her,
published.
it would have to be published by the 5th, and we wouldn't get it to her till the 2nd. So if that's quick enough time, then we can do it that way.
Okay.
But we may want to get that ready to go so that we can get it to her right away.
Okay. Anything else, Tim?
I've got a couple other things for council then.
What about that Crown Street thing, anything done?
The Cronister closing is going to occur at 1 o'clock Friday in my office. I've talked to Brian. We'll put together the settlement statement and send it out to Phyllis and to Brian. I don't think Brian has to, he's going to have to bring some money for the prorated taxes.
Yeah, only thing he was wondering, you talked to him, right, Jeremy?
Jeremy just left for a few minutes.
Yeah, he was going to touch base because he wants to take some garage doors off, and he just wanted to know when he could take them off prior to
That's
construction.
something he needs
He'll
to
work that out
coordinate
with
Jeremy.
Don and
Okay,
Jeremy.
that's all I wondered.
Yeah. But, and then the other thing is, we're trying to figure out if we can just take a check from Phyllis or if funds have to be wired. I don't think it's a small enough, well, no, but there's other expenses, there's closing expenses, so anyway,
Oh,
we,
you got to pay for this survey.
all that kind of stuff, so. Anyway, we'll see if we're gonna have a small enough a dollar amount, we may be able to just take a cashier's check as opposed to having a wire check.
That one doesn't have gas, I don't think. I asked Jeremy that today. He said that one doesn't have gas. Don, this building over here doesn't have gas, right? Natural gas in it?
Not the section we want to clear.
Not the section we're clearing out.
Behind it,
Yeah.
the meter's already removed.
Okay. It's just the one on Winchester that we need to get, that we need to notify NIPSCO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be.
Phyllis, on Brett Miller's survey of that property, did he submit a bill directly to you, or is that something we need to get paid?
I don't think I got the bill on that one yet.
Not on this one.
Oh, okay.
On the
other-
Cronister property.
I have not received that.
Okay, I need to get that from him, because that's something I will need to pay.
Okay.
Is that it, Ken?
Phyllis, you have anything?
Getting ready for budget, so if everybody can think about what you want to give for salary.
Okay.
Give raises or what you want to do.
Two. Okay, anything else from the board members? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.